So if we look at this example of a portrait project, we have a student doing some work which is obviously based on distortion and how facial features, a portrait can be distorted through looking at the face through glass, and in this case it looks like water in the glass. He hasn't got a title page, although here there are his ideas, and he's got this rather small pencil drawing but a good selection of primary source materials. These are photographs he's taken himself. If we move on, we have more examples of his photography, plenty of commentary on the meaning behind his work, and some painting work here. Again, more examples of the work, more explanation of his ideas, more photography, and a second painting. So now if we have a look at some black sheet work, we have examples of his drawing and two examples of painting. One's in watercolor and one's in acrylic. And here we move on to his artist research. So he's looking at Escher. Escher did various work where he distorts work, whether it's distorting work in cylindrical objects, in glass, or distorting them by using, for example, tessellation. More examples of Escher's work. Here we've got an analysis of one of his pieces of work where he unwinds a human face. And here it goes into the development stage. Now, one thing I would say about this is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages on Escher. I would expect a little bit more. When it comes to development, he's obviously working in the style of this painting. He's been strongly influenced by it, and he's created a narrative of one of the figures which he initially took photos of, and how he might unwind it and develop the image towards the final piece. One thing I would say is all of his initial work is obviously based on distorted through glass. So when one sees this work for his first piece of development, one is slightly surprised. Again, if we now look at the piece of work for development, major piece of work, fills a black sheet. He's created the doorway in the distance, and he's explained what it means in his work, in his sketchbook. If we now come back to his sketchbook, we see he's gone back to Escher, so there's a bit more research. He's got this idea of tessellation, so he's done a piece of development in his sketchbook, but then when one looks at his black sheet work, he doesn't take this any further. He's got this idea for development, this distorted figure. It is well explained, it is related to Escher. He's got great quality step-by-step explanations of the work. But one of the perhaps weaknesses of this project is, despite having very strong initial prep work and high quality artwork and sketchbook pages, the development jumps about a little bit rather than sticks with one idea, whether that be unraveling, whether that be distorted through glass, whether that be tessellation, and develops it and sticks with it. The final piece is a very strong final piece if we have a look at it, and the project overall is a very good project, but I think we've pointed out ways in which it could be stronger still.